stage, any of those days. Earlier in the week. Do you want to kick off?
Good morning, everybody. If I can open the proceedings, thank you for giving up your valuable evening time once again. This storm damage, trainer, storm damage is our bread and butter. In all said and done, the vast majority of our operational responses are as a result of the severe storms. Not only again in Sydney, but also within our area. And it's terribly important that we train people to do it, and we train them to do it safely. It is now 3 months at the start of the next storm season. Most units have got a fair chunk of people now qualified in general rescue. Some units have a bunch of people trained in storm damage. The majority of the units do not. So they've got a little bit of work to do with. Steve is going to run you through what I think looks like a pretty interesting weekend. And I think the ultimate aim of all these activities is to raise the quality of our training. Because what we want to do is provide good quality training, keep people there and make sure they do their job. So thank you again for coming along. Steve, over to you.
Again, before you start, Steve, can I just ask one question?
You
How many will be staying for tea tonight? Putting on a roast. That wall. Which will be open.
We can have lunch tomorrow.
Put on a steak and roast.
I will promise my eldest son I'd be home. Any other admin points that need to know about before you
And most people know the toilet showers, houses just off the road, that is. The young guys got to the building tonight. So we'll go. Morning teas at 10:30, lunches at
12:31.
I'll be right back and we'll around about 10 o'clock to get ready for morning tea.
Yeah, that's fine.
And walk away with 45 kilos this week.
I hope not. At least I
Especially since we're catering for a lot more tea, so it'll be eat.
that's the light. How long are you staying for, John? We'll just have to feed you up too. Well, thanks, Bob. What's that? No, that's tomorrow. We're having roast for morning tea and lunch tomorrow. You've got to get TV to watch Faulty Towers. Okay, welcome. Has everybody got a program? The Dennis and Pete, could you just slide yourselves around so we actually all mesh around the table here, please? We don't have to hide in back rows today, unless you're from Taliban. What I'm going to do now is just going to run through what I believe we need to cover this weekend, and then we'll just run around the table and we'll see what people also want to get out of this weekend, so we'll make sure that we meet your needs and requirements as well. Once I've done that, I'm going to go through the volume of paperwork that's associated with storm damage, because there's quite a lot of references that you need to be aware of to tap back into to be able to sort of capture the whole of the storm damage package, because it's not fully in the TRK.
What are TRK?
TRK is Training Resource Kit.
Good.
Okay. So you'll hear that little comment used a lot. And
TRK, TWTs?
that shoots tactical exercises without troops, which means we go out there and we talk about what's going on, and we come up with a plan, and you're given a problem and that sort of thing.
And program we got the other day, that's GIS, what was that? Good initial services.
GIS.
Yeah, for the GRN. Not GRN, GPS.
GPS.
Oh, global information system.
I don't know. I saw that. I got an email about that.
Couldn't some globals?
The left age.
I haven't read the attached document, but it was GPS and satellite workshop. It's all right. I've been doing some work for the Air Force lately, and having had a total Army career up until date, I discovered that there's a whole new raft of anachronisms, and that the Air Force, most of them don't even know
Well,
what they
they
stand
call
for
them
themselves.
acronyms as opposed to acronyms. You're probably
Acronyms,
right.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're right the first time.
Whatever, but it's unbelievable. We are all hopeless in that way.
But when he's got next slide, we'll call them mechanisms, and just start throwing up abbreviations, SES, to know what one will call, but
Probably have to sell it so that we can all work out what's going on.
training package later on.
Yes. Okay, what I want to do is, very soon we're going to run around the table and find out who's who where. I think we just about everybody know each other here. Yeah, that's good. You will by the end of this session. My main aim this weekend is to not be sitting around the table too much. We've got a bit of sitting around the table and talking about things and chewing the fat until morning tea. And then once we finish morning tea, we need to be on our feet running around doing things and making things and constructing things and that sort of stuff, which Colin's here from Bungendore, so you'll be able to find anything we want. So it will.
I don't know where it is, Willie will.
That's right, and I'm sure if you don't, we'll just have a scout around and we'll be able to find it out. For myself, with storm damage, I don't consider myself hugely experienced in storm damage, having only attended a few jobs. Most of those seem to have been in Sydney. Most of those seem to have been involved in trees and roots. And I'll show you a video very soon which puts a whole new complexion on working on roofs. And having seen this video, which is part of a new training package that's out, I sort of went, that puts a completely different complexion on the stuff that we used to do, well, that I've done up in Sydney so far, running around on roofs and running up and down trees and so on. And Jack has got some very compromising photos of me on trees and cutting them down. So, for depth of experience for myself, I've probably only been involved in about 3 or 4 major jobs, and a lot of other ones have just been minor ones. The thing you'll find is that by getting people involved in storm damage jobs, that's where you build your database and your experience, and that's where people start to grow and learn, and that's something we'll talk about when we come to assessing. General experience in the rescue line, for those of you that don't know me, I've been involved in rescue stuff for only about 7 years, which is not particularly long when you consider it compared to a lot of other people that float around these organisations. But I have had the experience in a number of different organisations, which does help to give you a great depth. Plus I've had involvement in the Army for a little extensively longer, and for those of you that come on the road on weekends and been out to my outdoor pet centre, you find that I love just like playing with ropes and so on, so therefore part of the storm damage I'm not playing on roofs. So that's enough for me. I'm currently posted at headquarters, for those that don't know, and before that I was at YAS, so I tend to be a little bit parochial towards YAS, simply because they're in my neighbourhood. Matt, we'll just run around the room anti-clockwise, starting with Matt. Just what I want is your storm damage experience.
Being in the organisation of phase 7 of been in for a couple of years, went down to the right in Sydney, because the Fox storm was impact at school, we didn't ride and still work, so a couple of years ago, a lot
Hailstorms in Sydney, and that's the only big job I've done. The other is just a little local thing, mostly trees on the road. That's what it is.
It's a very regular occurrence at our one. Dennis, your wealth of experience, enlighten us.
That,
Right.
that'll be a good one for you, that.
Okay. Roofs or trees on roads, mate?
Rooms and trees on roads.
What? Okay. Keep going, man. Greg.
Yeah, Sydney hailstorm and a few tree jobs and stuff around young and between young and cow and between young and home.
Okay, good.
Sydney, of course. Local stuff from the little tornado in and up and down the coast of all that.
Wollongong. Oh, Maroon Villas, yep.
This way. Sydney hailstorm, cut the trees down there.
Units, since we started. But this was around 89. But there was Sydney Farmers Road storms around that time, Maroonula. We've had a couple of rounds of mini tornadoes or whatever local to involve a lot of roof damage. We had one 87 storm was pretty spectacular just locally. I'll bring down a picture of the Crystal Park Polyclinic to 330 kV line. Sydney hailstorms, Wollongong, which was storm damage from mainly flooding.
Come back to Wollongong.
Trees on the roads and things like that.
Right, well, the first thing I think I said is, I was going to Queensland, I got involved with rock cyclones up there, but still trouble surges, got major roof damage.
Yep.
I mean, money affairs down here, didn't want it up down here, put them all on. Got three jobs, put major roofs.
So what was Wollongong? I didn't know Wollongong.
Wollongong was more flight.
It was more, just,
That's
Flash
right.
flood. It was huge. Flash flood.
That's right. So we'll revisit Wollongong as the weekend goes on because part of the storm damage is flooding.
It was a very big clean.
Yes.
I didn't think it would look like all that much rain when you read the newspaper on it. The day before we left, there was all this column that said, 48, 96, and although it was 101. Yeah, you think 101 millimetres of rain, that's nothing. What are you talking about? Then you read it carefully, it's centimetres. And they've had that in 3 days, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
Most of it
And
in
that
the
dirty
first
hill at the back
6
was
hours.
on there.
You know, they had down Geraldine where they had 100 and it was 8 inches, whether that works out to be, 8 inches of rain in about a 4-hour period. And the interesting thing was we were camping in tents down there, so I had a group down at Geraldine. We were camping in tents and thought, oh, the rain's a bit heavy. And we woke up the next morning and found it was that we hadn't got flooded, so we could put up right.
We picked the tent spot right too.
really depends on that money, but I think it's around 2 hours, I just trying to work.
Because there's quite a lot of flood damage around Jamboree. Okay, going the other way, Ivan, what do you expect to get out of this weekend?
I just want to update my skills, we do a lot of it, and if there's any easier ways and better ways of doing things, I'm just trying to help it. Because it's about 8 people, like,
No worries, Colin?
I've got experience as an operator, and I've got qualified as an operator, but I think that it'd be useful to pick up some tips and instruction in the same thing to make it better to teach the truth.
No worries. Okay, Peter?
Learn a bit more. What else on the hour?
Cool.
Just learn some and learn some more method teaching techniques and stuff like that.
Well, we started teaching it, but just see what's new and what had to change since last time we was
Yeah.
The other train pulled out, here I am.
Pauline?
Well, I'm just about to assess my small group trainer, and I want to train him to solve water questions.
And
Just to get on some of the new skills that come out, there's more ordinary life, making send the changing hand over fist, and you've got to force and find what you're taught is actually obsolete, or is in the process of being made obsolete. So.
no worries, that's good, because that's exactly what I was planning to do, what you all talked about. What we're going to hook into now is going to hook into going through the various manuals and so on that you need to reference and source to be able to teach and instruct on this. Now, how many of you actually have brought any of the relevant paperwork? You've got your TRK?
Trainer's guide.
Trainer's guide, yes, you've got
The
yours.
trainer's guide, the trainer's guide, and the normal.
Okay. Anybody else brought any paperwork?
Got a couple of hands that are looking with the trainer again.
Okay. What I want you to do now is disappear, grab all that paperwork that you've got, you believe is relevant, bring it in, put it on the desk, and then we'll start going through.
We can go ransack the office.
In fact, you should go and ransack the office and pick up whatever TRK you can on some forms.
I actually went through the office just to register directly as well. He's gone.
That's right. I've got to remember to let Vicky know to make sure that that's a automatic thing that goes on everything.
I'll figure that way again.
Well, it's not quite as simple, I discovered. I was trying to do that. But what happens is Vicky gets the units to put in bids for certain things. So the only other option is that we put in a headquarters bid saying we've got these courses running, we expect so them to pick up an extra number of manuals. And that's probably the only way to do it. So that when they come here we can issue them the manual. And if the unit ends up with 3 or 4 manuals in the end, that doesn't really matter. Because what Vicky's been trying to do is every unit gets at least 2 manuals. Yes. Well, that actually occurs as a result of this. I will send an email to Vicky and she'll actually post them out their own TRK.
Good on that.
But a simpler system would be to issue a new one. Well, we'll do that in the new financial year.
10 lectures come up everybody's there.
Starting with the roping weekend.
Well, there is no roping manual. That's the problem. There is no roping manual. I'm not sure whether it's going to be one coming out. Look, roping is one of those sensitive areas that nobody seems to be able to agree on.
You don't have sale.
Everybody has an opinion.
So you don't have sale, do we? That word's not in our code from.
Well, no.
Unless you're credit rescue.
Well, that whole accredited rescue thing is starting to fall by the wayside as well, of course, as a result of storm damage and rip safety kits.
Yeah, but that's not up sale, that's for fall prevention.
Got a slide shack in one. Where it's storm, front and right.
Yeah.
Slide shack. Then it happened in half the roof. Through dummy up the roof to show the tension effect.
Very good.
Anyway, you want to hit the ground, you work pretty well. About 5 times, 5 days before it hits the ground properly.
Do you have a photo of that?
Yeah, kind of say that.
Okay, well, we'll have to look at that later on. Here we're working on. Just waiting on the recent system of the rating installed.
Oh, the, something still on pack. Yeah. What's something different?
Okay, so obviously there's a dearth of these manuals in the flights. Right. There's a number of things that you need to be able to source to be able to teach storm damage correctly. The first thing you need to be able to source is the Learning and Development Manual. Every unit has 2 of those. Right? There's the controller's copy and there's the training officer's copy. You actually need to be able to look at that to see how everything fits into the correct pigeonholes. So please make a note that you need to get yourself a copy of this. And I've got my copy here so you can look at it a bit later on. And I'll go through it shortly and show you where you source various documentation from. You need to be able to source your copies of your General Rescue TRKs. Now, for those of you that are not sure what a TRK involves, this is the way the training package is coming out nowadays. So the General Rescue TRK comes out. Each instructor in that discipline is being actually issued with their own personal copy of this, and what happens is Vicky actually puts your name across the top there and posts it out to you. The TRKs come with copies of the assessment instruments in them, and they're slipped in a pocket there. You get the assessor's guide, okay? And the assessor's guides, has anybody seen any of these assessor's guides before? Right, they're extremely good because they tell you exactly how to do everything and so on. And we'll be working this weekend through the assessor's guide, step by step, with the storm damage one. But it tells you how to set up your exercises, even tells you what questions to ask people. So it is very handy, and as a trainer you need to train so that the people will be able to complete all that stuff. It also comes with copies of your evidence summary, okay? And these are the sheets that people need to fill out before they undertake their assessment. And then it comes with learner's guides and trainer's guides. And with your General Rescue, it's a big fat package like this, and it's got all the things broken down into modules. So that's General Rescue. Why do we need the General Rescue for storm damage? Well, the reason we need the General Rescue for storm damage is, let's go across to it, because part of the storm damage course involves shoring. So, this particular part of the storm damage, the General Rescue course, is relevant to the storm damage, and we need to be aware of it and we need to work with it, okay? Because it's got good details on shoring with the learner's guide, etc. Your flying shores, your racing shores, your dead shores, and so on. Okay? I still think flying shore is such a funny name for it because I just expect to see the shoring flying through the air. So, that's the first manual. Now, what can we do if somebody's qualified in General Rescue? Does that mean they're already partially qualified in storm damage?
So you've got evidence that they've done it,
Yes?
and you've got the evidence in the logbook, whatever it is, you know, but unfortunately, they bang, there's somebody to assist you got the
Exactly right. So, that means that it saves you a little bit of time. I'll get to that one last. The other part of the storm damage module, when you look up the Learning and Development book, a big component of storm damage is chainsaw. Okay. So storm damage is actually broken into 2 parts. It's broken into storm damage and water operations and chainsaw, and the whole lot encompasses storm damage. Okay. So if you're an instructor, and if you remember, for those of you who've been to the SGT weekends and so on, if you're an instructor, you can only be an instructor in 3 discipline areas, correct? So storm damage is 1 discipline area, and that involves not only storm damage, but chainsaw. Okay? So if you're a storm damage and chainsaw instructor, you are only an instructor in 1 discipline area, you can still do 2 discipline areas. Okay? So chainsaw is not a discipline area separate to storm damage. And they've package them as such. So chainsaw is relevant. If you can't do chainsaw, what do we have to look at using if we can't use a chainsaw? Hand saws and so on. And tree operations is part of our storm damage package. And so once again you'll find if you've got somebody that's qualified, at least up to tree felling, that you'll be able to probably sign them off on parts of storm damage, and you'll just about knock over tree operations. So if they're already qualified in general rescue and chainsaw, you can knock over 2 parts of storm damage before you even start. Starts to make life a lot easier. So suddenly your big storm damage course is starting to funnel down and become smaller. There's a new package floating around as well, which some of you might have seen, and that's called Electrical Hazard Awareness for Emergency Service Personnel. Now most units should have received a copy of this. Have any of you seen this in your units? Has anybody looked at it?
Yeah.
Has any? You have?
Let us upload that when we do a presentation.
We've got
Right.
We haven't seen the package, have we? The presentation.
Okay. You'll find that in your package you come with a big manual, and then you come with a series of things called training. And the core training is the trainee's guide, which everybody gets. Okay. Now this is a bolt-on extra. Yes, there's one there. This is actually a bolt-on extra, which is not locked into the storm training. But my advice to you guys is, as part of your storm training, you spend at least a night going through that. Have you all seen this video? We'll have a look at the video very soon, and it's well worthwhile that before you even start your storm damage course, that you actually start with that video and that package. Because what was a feature of, well, I've been to 2 spots of Sydney storms. One was, I think, the Father's Day one, as they called it, where all the trees blew down, and the other one was the roofs falling in. But what was something we never really thought about? The electricity will go rushing in there. And I was quite interested when I watched the video the other day, going, I wish I'd known that when I was climbing around the roof and my feet were falling through. Fortunately, most of the electricity had been previously isolated for us in most cases, but how many of us actually physically checked or thought about it while we were doing it? Did you?
Yeah, we did not.
But unless you...
One job that I knew was the old days for the electricity
I mean,
supply was pulling away from people. The roof was rotten anyway.
yeah.
But we should have got on whoever supplies the electricity up there.
And got them to come and turn it off.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, we just rush in and we get the job done and we forget about some of these.
And some of the time, the problem is that the damage can be concealed in such
That's
a
right.
way that it's not apparent. We had one with the Sydney hailstorm that I heard about at the end of the insulation has been stripped off the wires by the hailstorm. So the roof was actually light. But when you look at it, you can inspect and you can see it.
Fine, that's right. So, the key stuff though is still the EMA manual. You should have these in your thing. Training. That's the older one, and that's the newer one. Right? If you don't have them, you need to put in your orders to division. Right? You should try and have at least 2 of these copies in your unit at all times. Okay? So that you've got 1 copy permanently here and 1 copy so that the instructor in that or the trainer in that discipline can take it home to do the lessons at home. Because that's still, when push comes to shove, that is still the manual that we work off, and all these others are based on it. That is the current storm and water damage operations PRK. And in it, as you can see, you come with your assessment instrument, you come with your assessment guide, you come with your trainer's guide and the trainees' resources, learning resources. Now I know there's hundreds, well not maybe, there's about 100 or more, but there's boxes of these sitting up at the division, so you need to get them. So you need to put your bids in, Vicky, so that you can get all this stuff. Right? She asks for bids regularly for stuff to come in, but she cannot work out what the unit's requirements are unless you ask. So if you're going to run a storm damage course, you need to give her lead time as well, and you need to make sure that you've got enough trainee learning resources for all the trainees. Because what do we need to run a course? We need a TRK for the trainer. Okay? Not everybody needs a TRK, right? This is for the trainer, so there should be 2 of these at least in the unit. And then you need one of those for each of the students. We'll have a look at one of these in a minute. I think we've got enough spread through here that we can have a look at one. So any questions about that? So when you're setting up your storm, don't damage course, don't get intimidated by the amount of paperwork, because chainsaw operations, it really you don't have to worry too much about, but you need to be aware that it's part of the course. General rescue, you just need to be aware that there is a module in there that relates, and it's often better to come back to that module than because it fleshes out what's in here. Learning and development manual, you need to make sure that you are abiding by the guidelines that are in here and aware of what the guidelines are. We'll revisit those as the weekend goes on. You should have your book with you. So that's all the documentation you need to be aware of, and you need to actually source to be able to put together a course. And be honest, how many of you think that you can put together a course in your unit right this minute?
We're in the middle of doing one now.
Right, have you got all that?
Except for the electrical hazard, which I'll put this hold on.
You haven't got electrical hazard at all.
There is one in the unit, I'll have to read it.
Every unit takes one copy now, and there needs to be one copy per unit. Okay, so you need to access that.
Yeah.
Right. So just be aware you need to tap into all those different bits and pieces. No questions on any of that so far? Very good.
That was a closed question.
Okay, well you rephrase that to make it a more open question and re-ask the question. Thank you, Colin. Well,
Does everybody understand that? Has anybody got any questions for me?
same result. Okay. Who is the technological guru here? No, that understands the machine. I'm talking to Bungendore. Right. Could I get you to fire on that video, please? What we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at this video, then we're going to have a short break, then we'll come back and explore some of this paperwork in great depth. And then you can go and harass John. What other, you've got them, I've seen them. Yes, yours, have you got them? You have got them.
That one.
That one? You've got that one?
Yes.
So you got a big packet of these as well?
As far as I ever got that.
Your unit's got them. What was that?
Yes, we are now looking at it.
Well, what's the use of training practices?
Sometimes you get turned in, yeah, but then you come
Yeah.
on. I'll start with those questions.
What about Bungendore? Bungendore's got this. Cole?
Sorry?
Bungendore's got this. I'll leave you a copy, you can turn it up. I run an open view course. You can put it on my shop, be on somebody else's. When everyone hit the play. This is a very enlightening video, and one of the hugely amusing parts about this particular video is look what happens to these poor old fire engines. Now this is one running up the back here onto the coat hanger. Is that a problem?
That's it, guys. There should be one running from there to there. Watch out for the video. Just take video, VCR, and I've done that. Video. Hit play on the video. I'm sure it's all fine. Oh, it's still fine though.
Yes, it's fine.
Put video on the board.
That's right. No, 12-year-old boys, they're normally more technologically have greater ability to these things. Ha! There we go. Outstanding.
Yeah, we want it.
We will rewind it.
Here we go again.
Stop. Rewind. And what's the volume? Play.
Oh, here.
We need to use the buttons on the TV.
Well, let's do the audio.
Flying.
Didn't turn the TV off.
They will just fail.
Keep an eye on it, Drew.
What button is it press, Greg?
I just turn the TV on and off and hit the OK button and to drive. Here we go,
Just two.
Too quick.
Of Australian households, institutions and businesses. While the Australian electricity network is one of the safest and most reliable in the world, it is not without its dangers in emergency situations. Awareness of the potential hazards posed by electricity can mean the difference between life and death. This video has been produced to provide emergency service personnel with a local awareness about the dangers posed by electricity, allowing your colleagues to get on with the job of saving the lives of others without putting your own at risk. Overhead power lines are such a part of our urban and rural landscape that we often take them for granted. While most members of the public are aware of the possible dangers posed by overhead power lines, thinking in terms of crisis is rare. During emergencies, power lines can be a major hazard. They can also be deadly.
Stay in the car, the wires are out. No.
Vehicle ignites great alcohol, the wires are down, so they should be connected. We require the services of an ambulance, rescue, fire brigade, and the electricity distributor.
Report all incidents where power lines are down to your control room and give as many locations as possible. This could include the number of the power pole damaged. This will help electricity personnel isolate the problem area more quickly. Your control room will contact the local electricity distributor and relevant support teams. Always assume power lines are live until proven de-energized by the local electricity distributor. Keep at least 8 meters away from damaged or fallen power lines and any object they have made contact with. wet and windy. In this scenario, the power lines are live, and an electrical current flowing through the car to the earth has created an invisible radiating electrical field in the ground, outwards from the car. Anyone attempting to exit the car or approach the vehicle to rescue is at risk of receiving an electrical shock. Keeping well clear, undertake a hazard assessment of the area to ensure no other electrical hazards are present, such as overturned or damaged pad-mount substations, kiosks, electrical service pillars, or underground supply and streetlight pillars. Keep vehicles, personnel and members of the public a safe distance from fallen lines. Also be aware of fallen power lines which may recoil. The local electricity distributor is responsible for making the area safe and will advise you of what action is required in this type of situation and when rescue can commence. Most road crews are radio equipped and capable of immediate response in emergency situations.
Keep everybody away, or isolate it, and let you know when you can get back to them.
Must be isolated before it is safe to approach the vehicle or remove the injured occupants. After the tower is isolated, testing and earthing is carried out to ensure lines are dead. Further tests must be conducted at the accident scene. The all clear must be given by the electricity distributor before the rescue can proceed. Don't endanger your life if power lines are down or electricity is involved. Always assume power lines are live. Contact your control room in electrical emergencies and stress the urgency of the situation. Give your exact location and request electricity personnel. Keep the area clear and stay at least 8 meters away from fallen power lines. Undertake a hazard assessment to ensure that no other electrical hazards are present. Wait for the OK from the electricity distributor before attempting rescue. Fire is a major cause of damage to land, property, and power lines. Fire is also a conductor of electricity. Being aware of the hazards posed by overhead power lines due to fire can be the difference between life and death, especially in emergency situations. As a result of this house fire, power lines were damaged. Luckily, no one was hurt when it fell. The fire truck took all the power lines, which put out of action until the power could be switched off by the local electricity distributor. This resulted in the crew being responsible for 2 hazardous situations: the fire and someone coming into contact with the electrified fire truck. To avoid this type of situation occurring, always undertake a hazard assessment of an area before commencing emergency procedures. Never park vehicles under or close to power lines. Keep hydraulic equipment well clear of overhead power lines. Other electrical hazards can also occur as a result of fire. Mains explosions can occur if power is not isolated. Explosion at the point of electrical attachment is also a risk if power is not disconnected. Electricity supply can be isolated by turning off the main switch. In some buildings, there could be more than one main switch. Turning off the main switch does not eliminate all electrical activity. Conductors are still live between the point of attachment and the switchboard. Explosion or electric shock can still occur even if the main switch has been turned off. If you are unable to gain access to the main switchboard, notify the local electricity distributor through your control room, and they will arrange to have supply disconnected. In these types of emergency situations, isolate power by turning off the main switch. Be aware there could be more than one main switch. Proceed with caution as explosion or electric shock can still occur even if the main switch has been turned off. Extreme weather conditions can also create electrical hazards for emergency personnel. Overhead electricity networks are especially hazardous during bushfires. High voltage power lines are located throughout rural areas. In your pre-fire incident plans, highlight fire trails that have overhead power lines near or crossing them.
here, if you're going towards the power line, you need to be careful with those. I'm not too sure exactly what's happened with the fire on the line.
Power lines can expand and sag dramatically due to the heat of bushfires. Be on the lookout for low clearances caused by sagging lines. One sagging line in a group is a sure sign of power line broken. If a sagging line is seen, more personnel are in danger of commencing fire damage. The fallen lines can result in reduced visibility. Always assume fallen power lines arrive. Don't attempt to move a fallen power line. Keep personnel well clear and find another route to reach the fire.
Hi, I'm Sierra 91. Could you please inform incident control that we have a fallen power line on this fire trail?
Fences and water pipes can also be hazardous during bushfires. Power lines in contact with wire fences can energize the fence for several kilometres.
Like on Maple Thursday, if I was not able to access ground property due to power lines here, over.
Avoid touching boundary fences and water pipes during bushfires. Severe flames and dense smoke can also cause high voltage lines to earth, resulting in a plasma burst and a loud explosion. Avoid working near high voltage power lines if fire conditions are heavy or creating volumes of smoke. When fighting bushfires, assume power lines are alive. Be on the lookout for sagging or fallen. Keep personnel well clear of fallen lines, at least 8 metres, and find another route to reach the fire. Be aware of fallen power lines which may recoil. Avoid touching boundary fences and water pipes during bushfires. Avoid working near high voltage lines in heavy fire conditions. Wooden poles and crossarms can also catch fire. Fire can weaken the structure, causing the lines to fall. Never stand or park vehicles pending power lines. Use vehicle-mounted pumps and place the hose above the pole, allowing overspray to fall on the fire. Never stand in pools of water and never apply direct jet onto a crossarm or insulator. Use a nozzle that breaks the stream of water by at least 50%. Stand on the outside of the power line at least 8 metres from the base of the pole. Although constructed according to strict fire safety regulations, substation control buildings can also catch on fire. A substation fire can involve equipment energized to high voltage levels, and toxic fumes can be given off by burning insulation material. After reporting the incident in your control room, wait for the local electricity distributor to arrive to isolate electricity supply to the station. Entry should not be attempted until the power has been isolated and the OK has been given by the local electricity distributor. Repairing damage from storms, gale force winds or hail is often the role of emergency service personnel. Falling trees, branches and flying debris can damage electrical equipment and bring down live power lines. Have your control room contact the local electricity distributor to isolate supply before moving storm debris around power lines, and wait for the OK before proceeding. If live wires are on the ground, keep onlookers and personnel well clear. When emergency repair is required, be on the lookout for electrical hazards. Take particular care with metal roofs, guttering and ladders, all excellent conductors of electricity. When cleaning up after storms, never touch power lines or power attachments. Keep personnel and onlookers well clear. Wait for the power to be isolated and to be given the OK from electricity personnel before commencing cleanup. During floods, rescues are often carried out under difficult conditions. Heavy rain and floodwaters can cause serious damage to electrical systems. Take care with aluminium rescue boats and keep equipment and personnel well away from power lines. Lower airings when in floodwaters, and remember that clearance between power lines and the water is used as floodwaters continue to rise. In some countries, clearances underneath power lines can be affected overhead wiring traction system carries 1500 volts DC. If called to attend an emergency at a railway location, railway wires should be treated the same as other electrical wires and assumed to be live. Contact your control centre, which will in turn contact the railway electrical control centre. This centre will arrange for staff to attend the scene, isolate the power, and issue the relevant permits before rescue can proceed. All personnel and onlookers should be kept well back, and passengers should be told to remain inside carriages until the all clear has been given. Personnel should also keep a sharp lookout for trains, as they may still be operating on adjacent lines. In extreme or life-threatening situations, the railways have special procedures that can be introduced if you are required to come within 1 metre of overhead wiring in order to rescue members of the public. This procedure involves the removal of supply over all tracks and for a radius of approximately 5 kilometres, stopping all electric trains. Advise your control centre that the situation is life-threatening and priority arrangements will be made to remove all sources of power to the overhead wiring. Your control centre will advise when this has been done to enable you to access the injured person. Do not proceed until you have received this assurance from your control centre. Electricity networks rely on substations to distribute supply. Zone substation switchyards contain high voltage equipment and are located throughout rural and suburban communities. Switchyards, sometimes prone to vandalism or unauthorized entry by children, should never be entered, whatever the reason.
Stop, stay where you are. If you're not in trouble, then stay where you are.
Let this be a reminder to you all that this organization will not tolerate failure.
Oops! I did it again, baby. Yeah!
What led you through the hopelessly tangled underbrush of private security organizations to our door? Stellar word of mouth? Our fine client roster? Those flyers we put up in that public urinal?